Welcome to Scanny Crafts! If you're curious about how much I managed to knit and crochet during a home reno, keep on watching and let's get right into it. Welcome to my second episode of my knitting podcast. I am going to be talking about what I've been knitting and crocheting while having a pretty full-on home reno where we refinished our floors in the living room. And I'm also going to be talking about what I am knitting and crocheting now. So let's just get right into it. And if you want to watch the knitting or the crochet, if you're more into one of those, I'll be sure to do timestamps so that you can just click along what you want to watch. So I have my early afternoon coffee here. It's a beautiful autumn day outside. The sun is shining, the colors are changing. I'm looking at a lot of yellows right now, and we've had a couple of storms here, so we'll see how long the colors last, but I'm enjoying them every second. And last time we talked, we were just starting a home reno. We were actually redoing our living room floors. We had some water damage and had to redo them. And they came early, so that kind of ruined my little plan of making a lot of progress with my crochet sweater, because we had to cram into a little room, all of us, me, my husband, and our cats, and make sure that my cat was comfortable. You know, she's used to roaming around, and then she had to be in this little space, and I couldn't tell her what was happening. So yeah, that was kind of hard, and the lighting in that room is not great, so working on a dark brown sweater was just not easy. And also, life was kind of hard those weeks, just some things going on that, life happens. And I just decided to just make some socks, and I'll show them to you. So we have a living room back right now, which is great. We got the floors stained a lot lighter, so the living room feels new and fresh. It's so great. So without further ado, let's get into what have I finished since we last talked. And I have my little notebook with notes here in case you see me watching that way. So it's been about 4 weeks since my first podcast episode, since I filmed that. And I intended on filming every other week, but the Reno thing happened. So I've had a lot of time to make what I've been making. This isn't 2 weeks worth, just, And of course, never compare yourself to others online. I don't do that, and I hope you don't either. Let's start with the problem. Last time we talked, I was working on the Millicolori socks. This is sock pair 24 of this year. Or actually show it over here since I have so much space. So these socks, they are beautiful. I really love the colors. And it's the Crazy Sock Lady fingering weight pattern. I'll link everything I'm talking about below. The thing that happened that hasn't happened to me before, and let me know if you've had this problem. The end of this sock is supposed to be done in Kitchener stitch, which I really like. It just means that the tip here is pretty seamless, if I can say it that way. But what happened here with this yarn was, just as I was going to do the Kitchener stitch, the yarn sort of like just frayed and then just got split. So I didn't have enough yarn to finish my Kitchener stitch. And I've been thinking a couple of weeks of what to do, because I could just finish it this way, like the way I used to do, just decreasing, doing it in a round. But I'm gonna do something I haven't done before, and this is going to look a bit brutal. Yep, I just cut that off. So I do really want to finish this as I did the other sock, which with the Kitchener stitch, and that means I need to redo it. So why not be a bit dramatic and cut it off? So I'm going to fix this. I do need my knitting needles to be able to do that, and they are occupied at the moment with a pair of socks I'll show you later. But that's gonna need to happen now. So I can't, you know, undo this, so now I'll need to finish it. So that's my almost finished pair 24. Alright, then we have the other pair that I showed you last time. This is Sanne's Gone Perfect. It's part of my stash down. It's me trying to get rid of some of my oldest yarn up here before the end of the year, preferably. And these were the first time that I tried doing this pattern with 2 colors, and I think that worked great. I had to do a different color heel and top part here, but it worked out. I didn't have much yarn left, so I'm happy with these. Then we had a home reno and not having much light, so I decided to just continue working on some socks. I did cast on these, and so they look like this. They are DK weights. And I'm going to put the name of the yarn up here because I'm going to pronounce it in Norwegian. I had never tried this yarn before, and I have to say I don't like it. I love how they worked out. It's beautiful, sort of popcorn. I think the color is named popcorn. Beautiful sort of color shifts. But the thing is, this yarn was so hard to work with. I'm not sure if it's because it was 70% superwash wool and 30% polyamide, and that's kind of higher percentage to what I usually work with. I usually do around 20% nylon, but they were so very, very hard to work with. I actually had to find my crochet hook to be able to do the heel pickup part up at the top here, and I can't say that's ever happened before. It might also be the knitting needles I used. They weren't the most tapered ones, so that might be it, but it's never happened before. This is a yarn that suggests 4 to 5 millimeter needles, and I use a 3.5 because I knit a bit tight. But again, it's never been a problem before, and these are pretty similar weight, and yeah, so this was my first try in this yarn, and I am not going to work with it again, but they turned out fine, so I'll enjoy them. And I don't have more of that yarn, so that's completely fine by me. So that's 3 finished socks, and then we have the last sock pair I did. This is sock number 27. No, this is sock number 26. This is Regia Perfect Riverside. This is a fingering weight and quick and easy, and I never thought I'd say this, but due to this being so hard to work with, I was actually really looking forward to working with fingering weight, and this was easier on my hands than that dollar yarn. It might also just be me working a lot with fingering weight yarn this year to reduce my stash behind me here. But I think I'm actually at the point where I can say that I prefer to use the thinner fingering weight yarn for socks now. It's easier on my hands than some of the DK weight, so that's kind of interesting to me. But yeah, 4 pairs of socks have been done since last time we talked. And that's all the knitting I've been doing, so let's talk a bit about crochet. So for crochet, I have a couple of things finished. I got some yarn from a friend of mine that she wasn't using. I was sort of planning to make a sweater, but I am rethinking that. So I took some of the colors. It's about 1 skein of each color that I got from her, which is great. And I made a blanket for my cats. So it looks like this. It's actually doubled, so it's pretty long. Yeah, I don't think I can get it all in. But my cat, she really loves alpaca wool specifically, and she has the habit that she likes to, you know, wander around and stay around where we are. So Earlier this year, I discovered that if I did plop down something like this, she would stay there. And I am in the process of starting to do this room up to fix the furniture or to replace some furniture. And I really wanted her to be comfortable in here when the room is done. So I decided to just make another blanket for her. And this can be used anywhere. So this is Drops Lima. And I just did a moss stitch. 2 rows of each color before switching up the color. And I did a row of around 3. I think I got 3 rounds around that. So yeah, this worked up in just a couple days. I love projects like this where I can just go and just watch some TV at the same time. So yeah, I got on this. This used 315 grams, so 6.5 skeins. So that's my sort of bigger crochet project that I finished. And then I did talk about last time about making some pouches to donate to some friends. I have made 6 of them. 6 are done, and I have a couple left to do. They need to be done next week, so I need to get on that, but I have at least 6 for now. And that's what I've finished since we spoke last time. And now let's get into what I am currently making. So let's start with knitting. I haven't found a sweater or anything big to work on just yet. So I have a new pair of socks. This will be sock number 28. So one sock is finished. I finished that yesterday, and then I just started working on the second one. So the yarn is Lana Gossa Landlust, and it's a fingering weight. So I'm working on those, no problems yet. And when these knitting needles are freed up, I'm going to finish that other pair of socks. I have ordered a new set of these needles so that I can work on 2 pairs of fingering weight at once. Normally I don't like to do that because that just means a lot of unfinished projects, but I think I'm going to do it. I tend to finish my socks, so I think that should be okay. So that is a pair of socks that I'm working on. And then I wanted to include this to keep myself accountable. I am doing the Stash Down challenge for myself, and this is part of it. So I have 4 skeins of this Sunnes Gone Perfect in dark grey. My husband has a pair of socks that he wants another pair of. It's, I just call them twist socks, where you don't do the heel and they just sort of twist around. So I'm going to make that for him. They are kind of long and tedious to make, but I'm hoping that by next time that I do the knitting podcast that I'll at least have started. And I'm doing this, I'm double stranding this, and I am doing 5mm DPNs. I haven't started them, but I am intending to do so really soon, and I am going to keep myself accountable, so that's why I am including them. Now let's talk a bit about crochet, and I have some updates here too. So first, just to get them out of the way, I have finished 2 more small pouches, and I have 1 going at the moment. So that's that. Nice and simple and easy. Then we have my big crochet project. This is the 2-tone cardigan by Viv Crochets. And last time I tried it on for you, I showed that I had been doing the top part here, not the collar yet, and I had been working down on the arm. I hope you can see that. And I was just about here when I finished. And I have to say that when I watched the footage back, I became really unsure. Do I actually want to make this sweater? Because I didn't enjoy how it sat on me. So I decided to kind of switch it up a bit. The pattern suggests making both arms, doing both the wrist ribbing and then doing the ribbing on top here before you're continuing to do the body part. I have been knitting and crocheting for a good many years now, and I know what I like. I have a bit longer arms randomly, so a big part of making my own clothing is making sure that the sleeves are long enough. I'm so tired of just too short sleeves. Normally sleeves go about here on me, and it makes me actually go insane sometimes. So a big part when I buy sweaters is making sure that they have long sleeves. And of course, when I make things, I make sure they have long enough sleeves. So I decided to stop working on the sleeves and then go straight to the ribbing part here, because I was unsure if I was going to actually like it. But I did, which is great. And I continued starting on the other arm, because part of getting the fit right for me is, how can I explain this? To me, the fit of the sweater is important, that the arms are long enough, that the body part is comfortable, that the ribbing part here is nice and comfortable and pretty. And I didn't want to do the sleeve ribbing until I was completely sure that the arms were at the right length. So I made the other arm, I tried it on, I decided that okay, it's good enough, but I still waited to do the arm ribbing, because I know that garments or clothing can shift a little bit. So I started doing the body, and I haven't shown you, but it's down to the start of my hips right now. I'm sorry if I'm not showing you this properly. I'm trying. The pattern suggests that you can do some decreases under the arms, which I did, and I continued working straight down. I did try it on again, and I realized that I needed to account for my hips, and I frogged a bit up again, about this much. I did that yesterday, and I decided to do some increases. The pattern doesn't suggest doing the increases again, but I know that for me, I just won't enjoy a sweater that's, beautifully done and made sure to fit everything right, and then the bottom part feels very tight around the hips. That's just not something I enjoy. So then I take things into my own hands and I go a bit rogue from the pattern, which is something I pretty often do, but I will tell you when I do it on my knitting podcast. So I have started doing the increases again to get that shaping in and then get that shaping out again. So that's how far along I am. And then after I did that, I finally decided to do the arm ribbing. They are finally long enough, and they go about here on me now, which I think is a good length, especially for a year-round sweater. So yeah, that is my update. It's not far from being done actually. I have 3 or 4 skeins left, and I'll see how much I do. They go really fast here, but I think I have maybe 10 centimeters left and then some ribbing. And hopefully on my next knitting podcast, it will be done. So yeah, that's all of my knitting and crochet, what I've been doing for the past few weeks, and what I'm currently working on. I will say that when I'm done with this sweater, I am going to start a crochet cardigan. I will give you a little teaser for that. I'll give you the color, a beautiful deep purple. So I'm hoping that I might have started that next time, but we'll see. And yeah, I am just working on my projects, enjoying the autumn weather, enjoying the living room floors being done. And now that the living room has been done, I can finally fully start planning this room. It's not a big room, and having filmed a few videos in here, I kind of know where the lighting is good, and that's making me kind of rethink what furniture should go where. And if you have any good inspiration ideas for doing a crafting room, now I say crafting room, but it's going to be a knit and crochet. I really want some nice shelves for my yarn. I want a nice sitting place and some good lighting in here, and some fun and nice storage ideas. So If you have that, please send it my way. I am just now beginning to really think about what furniture I want in here. And that's going to be so fun, and I'll take you with me in the process. And you'll, of course, see the background changing and everything. And yeah, I am enjoying the autumn weather. I hope you do too, if it's autumn where you live or if it's spring where you live. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.